welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are getting into a lot of news. LeBron James tweeted something and then deleted it and explained why he deleted it. And then also Floyd Mayweather is going up against Logan Paul. It is officially happening. I don't know what to even expect about that, but we're going to talk about it. So subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You guys can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. Don't forget, today's Thursday, so get those comments in for Fan or Foe Friday. Jeremiah, I know you're going to blow us up like you always do, but let's get some other people in there blowing us up too, because we definitely want a lot of good comments for tomorrow. I do have a quick question before we get into our need to know news. I know yesterday, or sometime this week, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about should Steph's name be in the running for MVP? I want to revisit that real quick, because now that he only scored 18 points and didn't help his team beat the Wizards, who are in 10th place and could only string together 25 wins so far, the hell.
So here's the thing. I've been thinking a lot about this Steph Curry MVP conversation, and this I think is going to make Stay Mad real mad, because I think that we did say this when we discussed this earlier in the week, but if you really do think about it, like, I don't think that Steph does deserve to be in these MVP conversations, because yes, he is putting up these impressive numbers, but just the more I think about it, so are so many other athletes like Bradley Beal, and they aren't in the MVP conversations. And I just feel like Steph, because he has that golden boy reputation, it's easy to push him into that conversation and want him to be a contender. But there are athletes who are being just as productive on the court, but they're also on a winning team. And I think that that's what really matters here. And I know that I'm echoing what we already said earlier this week, but I've just thought about it a lot, and I've actually had a few conversations with some friends about it. And even though we love Steph and he's putting up these great numbers, except for last night, I don't think that means he needs a few good games. A good month doesn't mean that you deserve to be in the MVP conversation, even if he is the most valuable player on the Warriors. Jackie, what do you think?
I mean, I think this is one of those moments. This one should be, you've had a great April thus far, but Bradley Beal has been doing this forever, and granted, he only scored 29 points last night, but those were 29 points that ended up beating you. And if you're the guy that's carrying your team, like we talked about, then you should easily carry them past Washington. So I just wanted to point out that y'all was tripping when y'all was trying to put Steph in this MVP conversation. Kevin in the chat, he said it best: 1 month does not an MVP candidate make. And that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to make sure that I pointed out to you, especially you, Monsieur Stay Mad, that was a ridiculous conversation.
Of course, Stay Mad is always going to be mad. Always going to be mad about something. Jackie, before we jump into the news, how are you feeling today? What's going on with you? What's the latest?
I've decided I have to, in this weekend, I have to put myself on a social media hiatus, because my nickname is Malcolmina X, and the social media right now is not helping that side of me. So I gotta stand down. I'm gonna be radio silent until we come back, and I have to prep for the post up on Monday. But right after I do the post up tomorrow, I will not be on social media for the rest of the weekend, unless I'm just posting something on Instagram, because I do have to go to Denver to visit my mom this weekend. So I might, post, but I probably still won't even post that till Monday. So.
Oh, Jackie, I didn't know you were going to Denver to visit your mom. That's sweet.
Yeah, I'm going to start going. I don't know yet. I used to go every month. And so now that things are kind of opening back up, I'm going to definitely try to get back on that schedule, especially before they start making it hard to travel. So I'm like, let me just jump on this right now while I have time. So yeah, going to start going my once a month schedule again.
Nice. Oh, well, that'll be fun. Your mom will be very happy, I'm sure, to spend time with you. I got to see
I haven't even told you. No,
Oh my God. Okay, well, hopefully she doesn't watch the show, because you just spoiled us.
YouTube, not a thing.
I got to see my mom and dad last weekend, which was really fun. It's nice, you know, after this really weird year that we've had with the pandemic, kind of separating families and making it harder to see the people that we're closest to. It's been nice to feel like there's a little bit more normalcy coming about, and I can kind of go home a little bit more freely now. My parents are still a little bit paranoid, which I understand and I'm actually grateful for. I'd rather them be paranoid and stay safe than go out and think everything's okay and get COVID. You know, I would hate for that to happen, but it's nice that I can go home and feel a little bit more relaxed about it now. So I'm really excited for you to be able to go back to Denver. I hope you go to all your favorite restaurants. That's my favorite thing about going back down to San Diego, eating at all my favorite restaurants. So that sounds really, really fun. Okay. Let's jump into the news here, okay? So we need to discuss LeBron James and his deleted tweet. So LeBron James took to social media to call for accountability in the shooting of a Columbus 16-year-old girl in a now deleted tweet. You guys can see the tweet here. But just as a little bit of background, in case you haven't been caught up to speed on everything, although I'm sure all of you have, Bryant, she was a young black girl, and she was shot and killed by a Columbus police officer on Tuesday afternoon. She was, there was like a fight going on over there, and this is reportedly right here, the police officer who did shoot her. So LeBron, who has always been an outspoken advocate for social justice, he has always had a very loud voice when it comes to issues about racism and discrimination and police brutality. And so he tweeted out that picture yesterday with the words, "You're next, hashtag accountability." And accountability is a word that we've been hearing a lot, especially since the George Floyd and Derek Chauvin verdict, because that is all people want, is accountability and change. We want to see the people who are responsible for the deaths of, you know, innocent black people. We want to see them held accountable. So I understand why LeBron tweeted this. But hours later, the tweet was actually gone. It had received nearly 5,000 replies, with a lot of people, of course, debating whether or not the shooting was justified. And then so LeBron took to his Twitter account to explain why he chose to delete the tweet. He wrote, "I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. I am so desperate for more accountability." Okay, well, before we go further, Jackie, do you think that LeBron really needed to justify or explain why he deleted that tweet? Do you think that this was a smart move for him to speak about that decision?
So this is probably a monumentous occasion, because this is the first time I have ever just flat out disagreed with something that LeBron James has done. And I flat out disagree with him taking down the first tweet. The first tweet was actually 100% correct. And when I said I needed to take a break from social media, this tweet is one of the reasons, because I personally am tired of seeing Caucasian people being able to justify the murdering of black people. I actually personally do not care that this young lady, she was 15. I actually don't care that she had a knife in her hand, because what we have seen is we've seen 15, 16, 17-year-old white kids have machetes in their hands, and police refuse to even pull their tasers on them. We've seen a white kid jump in a policeman's car and try to run him down with it, and the cop refused to pull his gun on it. We saw the white kid walking through black protests with a AK-47 shooting at black people, and he was safely brought into custody. We'll go one better. The white kid that went into the black church and shot it up, not only did they take him safely into custody, they took him to Burger King. So somehow we can take all these violent white people into custody, but the young black girl who was clearly having some sort of breakdown, she needed to be killed, and white people can justify it. It is unnerving. I'm really sick of y'all. Y'all in the chat, I've seen you already. I've blocked a couple of you, and just know that my block game today is really, really strong, because y'all have hit my last nerve, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of you guys justifying things when it's us. You guys really find new and inventive ways to make cops feel okay about murdering us? She's 15. This is somebody's child. This is a girl that made a mistake. Y'all say that all the time when it's white people. Oh, well, you know, boys will be boys. It's mental issues. It's this, it's that. But when it's us, oh no, it's a justified killing. And when he got there, eyewitness accounts, and I saw a video on Instagram. I should have sent it, but it was pretty graphic. He pulled up, he got out of his car, 4 seconds later, he shot her 4 times. That's malicious. That is malicious. Why are you firing 4 times on a 15-year-old girl with a knife? You have no way to de-escalate the situation, which, by the way, is in your job description. Yes, accountability is needed. No, this man clearly does not need a job because he can't figure out a way to de-escalate a situation. And you know what? He doesn't have to figure it out because white America is always going to justify the murdering of us. And so he has no reason to figure out why he needs to de-escalate it because y'all will say, oh, she had a knife. She deserved to die. Y'all make me sick. LeBron should have let this stay up there. He should have let it stay up there because accountability is needed. But I know what happened. I know the people in his circle who are not black and are not as angry about this situation as I am said, you know, people are going to find it offensive because she had a knife. I don't give a damn that she had a knife. Like I said, hundreds of white people who have weapons are safely taken into custody. And you guys keep finding ways to justify it when it's us. It's gross. It's sickening. It's never going to change because half y'all in this chat are young as hell and you still say this nonsense. And that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It trickles down from your parents to you and you're going to make the same stupidity trickle down to your kids and it's gross and I don't like it and you make me sick.
I think, Jackie, I'm so glad you brought up all of the other instances of a white person going in and literally murdering people, multiple people, mass murders, and they are quietly and safely escorted out of the situation with no guns drawn on them, or if they have had guns drawn on them, no shots fired. And I think that that is the biggest difference here. I think if you want to deny that racism exists, like, fine, you're wrong, that's stupid, but you can't look at all of these situations and see where white people have been the perpetrators of violence, of death, of killing innocent people, and they manage to walk out of these situations unscathed. They get taken to Burger King. They sit in the back of a cop car. It's not about, you know, that's what really frustrates me. Like, I don't even have the words for it because she was 15, a 15-year-old girl, or 16, or however old she was. I've heard it both ways, but she was a young teenager, and there is no way that this cop felt threatened enough by her holding a knife that he needed to shoot her 4 times. 4 times is the intention to kill, and that to me it's alarming and it's scary and it's something that needs to change. You can't tell me that the person who shot up a church and still manages to walk out unscathed, like you don't think the officers felt threatened in that moment? Like, come on, that guy actually went out and killed people, right?
And this is what I'm saying. There's somebody in the chat, Rande highlights. He keeps saying, "What would you have done?" That is part of the problem. Like, what would you have done? These cops are trained to de-escalate these situations, and you know how you know this? Again, watch when it's a white person. Watch how they react when it's a white person. All of a sudden, all their de-escalation training is flawless. There are things they could have done. Number one, she was not, I see y'all in the chat. Y'all need to go and watch some of these videos. At the time when the officer pulled up, yes, she had that knife, but you know what? That taser. So do y'all really not know the difference between a taser and a gun? The man had a taser. He could have easily tased her. She was far enough away from everybody and from causing any real harm that you could have tased her. And I see y'all in chat too. Oh, but she was trying to attack another black woman. Okay, and again, let's go back to that because I know y'all gonna say that nonsense. That black on black crime is not a real thing. People kill where they live. People commit crimes where they live. And statistically, white on white crime is just as high as black on black crime. It's not a real thing. Y'all changed this narrative to suit you, and it's gross. And here's the thing. What I would have done should be entirely different than what that cop would have done who has training in those situations. He knows how to de-escalate that situation, and I know he knows that because if that had been Billy or Becky, they'd still be alive right now. But it wasn't. It was Michaela, and she's black, and she's dead. Y'all get on my nerves. Y'all really do get on my nerves. And again, y'all in this chat are pretty young. Not all of you, but some of y'all are pretty young, and you're making excuses for this, which means I know you guys are going to continue to perpetuate this problem, and you're sickening to me. I just want y'all to know that. You're sickening to me.
For someone in legless Spang in here keeps saying she was trying to kill. I mean,
so was the white kid that was walking around with the AK-47 right, shooting black people, and he was safely taken into custody. So again, whatever your name is, it's not important to me to know. What is your justification for that? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
I mean, there have been many instances where a white person has killed and that, you know, they are managing to walk away from the situation still alive and not hurt. But let's get back to LeBron a little bit, because LeBron's tweet, obviously, you know, he received enough backlash or enough response or whatever it is to make the decision to take it down. I think that whenever LeBron does speak out about social justice issues, there is the group of people that says stick to basketball, be quiet, sit down. They don't want to hear him, you know, complaining about anything going on, anything real that's happening in the world, because they just want him to be this basketball god in their mind with no other cares in the world. Do you think that he took it down because he is painfully aware of being labeled an angry black man, and instead of having people actually listen to him, do you think that that might have been a motivating factor in him taking that tweet down?
It might have been. He might care. I don't care what people think about me personally. I know people think I'm angry. Hell yeah, I'm angry, because I know if I have children, this is going to be the justification. This is what's going to happen. If my kid has a moment in time, like kids do, if I had a white kid, my kid would probably live. If I have a black kid, now I got to worry about my kid being killed. And here's the thing: LeBron is a businessman, and this is why I solely disagree with his decision to do this, because I believe in my heart of hearts the people around him are counseling him and say, you don't want to mess up your brand. Basically, you don't want to piss off a whole bunch of white people. You might have gone too far on this one, because white people are going to see this as a justifiable killing, and you saying you want him to be held accountable for that is going to piss off the white people, which clearly, by what's evident in our chat, is a true statement. Because again, white people will find new and inventive ways to justify something happening to us, that they would be mortified and demand change immediately if it happened to them. And so LeBron James made a business decision. He made a business decision to go ahead and take this down. And this guy Legless in the chat, you about 2 seconds away because you said, so let the other girl die. Don't be stupid. Let's let that be the thought process going forward. Don't be stupid. That's a stupid comment to make, because obviously the police were called to help the situation, but that doesn't mean you have to go into that situation and take a life. And again, if this had been Becky and Karen fighting, Becky and Karen would still be alive. And I know you know that. So don't be stupid in the chat. If you're going to say something, say it based in intelligence. It would help. It would go a long way, because I got time if you haven't noticed.
I like that. I like it when you go off, Jackie, because you always bring up such valuable points, and I think that you obviously just have so much to say, and everything is so powerful when you say it, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sorry about Legless spaying in the chat. Maybe we put him in a timeout real quick, but let's move on. Let's talk about just over it. I don't want to hear it. I think that we need to just have a lot more compassion and sensitivity towards one another. We need to put ourselves in other people's shoes and not focus solely on, you know, ourselves and the way we view situations. America is a melting pot for a reason.
I saw this video, had to be about a month ago, where this guy walks into a police station. It's definitely one of those situations where I don't know what he was mad about. But black people can't be racist, Frank Evans. I see you, but good try. But he walks into this police department, and he has a huge machete, and he's waving it. And of course, all these cops come running out with their guns. And then this one big cop walks out, and you can't hear the audio, which I would have loved to hear the audio. You can't hear the audio, but he literally motions to all the other officers who have their gun to, like, just go away. Let me and this guy have a conversation. And you can tell by his hand movements, that's probably what he say. Let's have a conversation. And the guy's still, like, he's lunging at the guy. The knife is huge. It's a huge knife. He's lunging at the guy, and the guy just keeps backing up. And he just sits down on a desk, and he starts talking to the guy. It's about a 4-minute video. About 2 minutes into it, the guy sits down. He still got the knife. And then he drops the knife, and the guy starts, I'm assuming, crying. You can kind of tell by the way his shoulders are moving. And then the cop gets up and just hugs him, gives him a big old hug. He motions for somebody to come bring the guy some water. They sit down, and then they escort him back to the back of the police station, and it goes off camera. So this man not only saved this man's life, he probably impacted this man, because I don't know why this man had a knife. Clearly something was going on in his life. Obviously, I don't know the backstory of this man. But instead of letting his officers do what they do, and shooting this man, he came into a police station. You basically asking for it at that point. This man took a moment to try to meet him where he was and to de-escalate the situation. And that man, in my opinion, went in there to harm cops. This wasn't a situation where that like we are talking about right now. He went in there because probably something happened in his life, and he went in there to cause harm, physical bodily harm to police officers. And instead of them killing him, one cop made a difference in this man's life. That's crazy to me. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And it wasn't a white officer. He looked Samoan. But it was just a beautiful thing to see, because it was like, it made you, in that moment, it made you realize you guys are trained to do this. And some of you guys are much better at it than others, obviously. But that was a beautiful thing to see, that this one person took time to stop his fellow officers from taking a life and to try to help this man, which is what you're supposed to want to do as a cop. You shouldn't just automatically want to pull your gun. And if that's why you became an athlete or a cop, you need to do something else with your life. If your first instinct is to pull your weapon, you need to do something else. Go work it in and out.
Yes, Jackie. I think I've seen that video, and it is really powerful. It just goes to show that that obviously wouldn't work, I think, in every situation, but if you take the time to instead of just resorting to violence or defensiveness right away, you are able to potentially change the course of somebody's life. Compassion and sensitivity and empathy go such a long way, and I think that the white community, like white people, really, really need to extend that more to people of color, specifically Black people. But we just need to take more time to understand each other's situations. I personally am always grateful when LeBron does speak out. He has such a huge platform, and I know it must get frustrating for him time and time again to post these things about issues that he's extremely passionate about, and to have just probably his mentions are flooded with people criticizing him, trying to justify bad behavior by cops or by white people. And I'm sure that is disheartening. I can't imagine what that would feel like, to constantly have to almost feel like you're defending just equality. That's outrageous to me, and LeBron still does it time and time again. I do think that tweet could have stayed up. I don't think he needed to delete it. I don't even think he needed to explain it, but I just think that his voice is so powerful, and I hope that there are young kids watching what he does and what he says and the things he puts on the internet and learning something. I think that that's the most powerful thing that you can do with a platform like his. But I want to switch gears. Okay, let's jump into our next update. This is going to lighten things up a little bit, because it's all about the most
terrible. I hate this topic. This is terrible.
At least it lightens things up in a way where we can not take it that seriously. And I think that that's necessary right now. Boxing great. Boxing legend Floyd Money Mayweather will reportedly fight Logan Paul. It's happening on June 5th at an exhibition. The location has not been selected yet, but I saw that they were tossing around Vegas, Miami, I think Dallas was one of them, but they don't know where it's happening yet, but it's going down June 5th. They were scheduled to fight on February 20th, and it was going to be streamed on FanMeo, but that agreement ultimately fell through. Now it is actually happening. Floyd and Logan going head to head. Of course, everyone is rooting for Floyd. Nobody wants to see Logan Paul win. I don't even think it's possible for Logan Paul to win. But if Floyd Mayweather loses this fight, which is just, again, to me, completely out of the realm of possibility, do you think he'd ever be able to live it down? Or do you think that this would negatively impact his legacy as a boxer?
It would absolutely impact his legacy in a negative way. But here's the thing. I just went on and on and on about how someone like Floyd Money Mayweather does not have to do this. You are 50-0 against real boxers. Why in the world would you take on this non-boxing annoyance? Why would you do that? Now, I get it. His name is Floyd Money, so the money must be really good. But at this point, when you are going out, Floyd Money walking around with $300,000 in his pocket at any given moment. When $300,000 is pocket change to you, you do not have to fight. Oh my God, this is just the worst idea. Because here's the thing. I said something similar when he was going to fight Conor McGregor. I was like, this is horrible, because if you lose, then how do you come back from that? You are the greatest boxer, pound for pound. You are one of the greatest boxers of all time. So don't put yourself in a situation when you could potentially lose, because, I know how hard Conor McGregor hits, and I just didn't know if Conor McGregor connected with him one time, because, Floyd is really good at not taking a whole bunch of hits. So if Conor McGregor had hit one time, I thought that was going to be it. I don't know how hard Logan Paul hits, but I don't think it's that hard. But I just don't know why you do this, because even though I was very anti the Conor McGregor fight, the fact of the matter is at the time, obviously he's failed miserably since, but at the time, Conor McGregor was the guy to beat in UFC. He was the man. He was the best in the UFC. So I could see, well, I'm the best at what I do. I'm the best at what I do. Let's get into the ring and see who's really the best. I could see that. But Logan Paul, what is he good at? What is he good at? Like, for real. Like, what is he good at?
I wish I could tell you, Jackie. I have no idea. I don't even watch his YouTube videos. I never have. I guess he's good at making a spectacle out of things. He was the one who filmed the dead bodies in the suicide forest. Big spectacle, major backlash. Now he's going to be going up against Floyd Mayweather. So obviously we don't understand the motivation for Floyd behind, his decision to fight Logan Paul, but if you had to guess, what is it? Does he need the money? I don't think he needs the money. Like, is it because is it a joke to him? Is he kind of thinking like, I'm gonna whoop this guy's ass and it's not a big deal? What is the motivation? I'm really trying so hard to understand it.
Again, like I could see someone like Mike Tyson saying, okay, I'm gonna fight Logan Paul, because Mike Tyson, he kind of dwindled away his fortune. It's building back up right now, but he doesn't have Floyd Mayweather money. You know what I mean? So I could see something like Mike Tyson coming out and saying, I'm going to fight Logan Paul. But again, when you walking around and $300,000, you carrying $300,000 in your pocket the way that I carry $40 in mine, you don't need to do this. This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what his motivation is. And I went to his social media before we got on to see if he made a comment as to why he was doing it, because people are like, why are you doing this? You shouldn't do this. He hasn't said anything. So I just said, it could have been 2 days ago, I said he is not the person to take a fight like this because he has nothing to prove. You're undefeated. You beat everybody that they said you couldn't beat. You've handled them with ease. So why take on a no-name? And I agree with what Kevin Pryor in the chat said. Boxing fans, I don't know if you guys know a real boxing fan, but the way that they view the pride that they have in that sport and what these guys have to go through to really get good and to hone their craft, not only just their footwork and their striking power, but their ability to read their opponent and know the timing, because it's kind of like a dance, and once you know the guy's timing, there's so much that goes into the art. It literally is an art of boxing that I do think you diminish it a little bit when you just take on these no names for no reason. I just don't understand why you would want to diminish the art in that way. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it does take away from the art of boxing, but I think that if I had to guess why he's going into this, I think it's because he wants to he knows that it's going to be such an easy fight. He wants to humiliate somebody like Logan Paul, who is going into the game, into the sport. Him and his brother, they're going into boxing thinking that they can just decide one day that they're boxers and they're going to just go into it and take over. And I think that he wants to knock a little sense into him. That's what I feel like is happening here. Like, Floyd Mayweather is 50-0. The guy is outrageous. I don't think Logan stands a chance. So I think he's just going into this match thinking, like, I'm going to show this kid that he can't just talk this big game and think he can fight people like me and actually win. And I think that it will be kind of funny to see. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I just think it should be a quick fight. But I see Elijah in the chat. He says Logan is going to be allowed to outweigh Mayweather by 50 pounds. That's a whole different weight class. Is that true? Because that's a whole different weight class. I get it. It's like, let's give this guy some advantage because he is fighting the great. But
no,
50 pounds? I didn't know that. And if that's true, that is insane. That, like I said, that's a whole different weight class. So I don't know how you justify that.
So, okay, actually, according to Maxim, which I don't know if we can really count on Maxim as being the the reliable source here, but he is allowed to outweigh him by 30 pounds, which is still a lot. 30 pounds is still a lot here. But yeah, it's not 50 apparently, according to Maxim.
I do also agree. Go ahead. Mayweather what?
Oh, Floyd Mayweather can weigh no more than 160 pounds, while Logan Paul will be capped at 190 pounds.
Damn.
And to add on to that, actually, Floyd Mayweather is 5'8" and Logan Paul is 6'2", so that's a big height difference as well.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is one of those things, like, since we advising people, let's advise Floyd Money not to do this fight for several reasons. Again, you don't need to. You've already proved that you got it right. You know, you're the man. Leave it at that. Don't take on some no name. I do agree. I saw somebody in the chat say that Jake Paul would be better. I agree. Jake Paul at least looks like he goes out there and trains, but and then now this weight thing, I don't know. This is stupid because what happens if you lose? What do you say if you lose? I don't know. I definitely don't see him losing, but what if he does? What does that say about his entire legacy? It's not worth the risk to me. I don't like the risk.
I don't like the risk either, because this would tarnish everything that he's accomplished. It's cool now to say 50-0 Floyd Money Mayweather, but if he loses to Logan Paul, who has all of these advantages in height and weight, like, damn, that would really, really suck. I don't know what to even make of that. He must be very confident. I'm confident too, but he must be just completely confident because I don't think he'd be willing to put his legacy on the line like that if he didn't think it was just going to be an easy fight. But it is funny because Jake Paul recently did kind of throw his own brother under the bus because remember earlier this week when we were talking about it and Jake was like, I get frustrated that people call me a celebrity boxer because that's not what I am. I'm a boxer, but I'm also a celebrity. He kind of threw his own brother under the bus saying like, Logan hasn't fought in 2 years. Like he's not really, he's not really a boxer the same way that I am. So it's kind of funny just to hear all of this. And now Logan is the one who's going up against with like the ultimate, the ultimate boxing legend. But that wraps up Need to Know News. Jackie, what is happening in the post-up?
Yes, I'm excited about this post-up because this first one is hilarious to me because being someone from Colorado where April is one of the snowiest months, is funny to see this video to me because apparently PJ Tucker is not here for us getting snow or for him getting snow this close to May. For him, it's just too much. And he's angry. Got to take a look at his face. Take a look.
Seriously, Milwaukee. Snow. It's almost May. Snow.
He's like mad though. That's hilarious to me. Eric completely co-signed on that as well. He posted a tweet that said he approves. He says, I stand with PJ Tucker. You guys got to know where you're at, though. This is what happens in a lot of places outside of LA, Florida, and Texas. You get snow in April, so welcome. I love his angry face, though. That's hilarious, because I used to have people come visit me in Colorado in April thinking we were going to go out and do all like this fun summer stuff. No, we get a lot of snow in Colorado in April, so it snowed this week in Colorado. So, enjoy. But anyway, let's move on to this next one because I know Kevin Pryor is in the chat. And I know he is a Knicks fan. This is a crazy, bizarro world we live in right now, you guys, because the Knicks have won 10 in a row. I mean, 8 in a row. They should have won 10 because they only lost to the Nets and the Celtics by 2 points. I definitely think they should have won both of those games, and they should be at 10 in a row. But they're at 8 in a row now, and then they got the 10-point overtime win against the Hawks last night, and now they are in the number 4 spot. Knicks fans have lost their minds. Take a look at this.
Where's Chris?
Right. I have to say, in my lifetime, I have never seen Knicks fans happy. This is so out of the ordinary to me. I don't know if you heard what Devin just said, but she said, "Where is Chris?" So I tried to get a response from Chris, but he was like, I have no words. But he posted this to his Instagram, and LeBron James said this as well. He said, the league is simply better when the Knicks are winning. And he goes, oh, Lord, I can hear it. ESPN writers writing about 2022 because, that was a rumor. Is LeBron going to try to stay in the league long enough for the Knicks to potentially get Bronny? But that was all a caveat on the Knicks having the losing record and being able to get Bronny. If they stay on this streak, that's out. Like I said, I talked to CK2K before we got on the show, and he said he has no words. Smiley face. He has no words. So I got nothing. I see Kevin in the chat. I know you're in there somewhere. I want to know how you feel. Devin, have you ever in your life seen this many happy Knicks fans? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either, but you know what? I'm going to celebrate right there along with them. I'm happy for them after so many years of disappointment. I feel I owe it to them to be happy for them. I owe it to Chris to be happy for him, just because we did give Chris such a hard time when he was here. But congratulations.
Hard time. Now I feel I have to hit him up. Like every time the Knicks win, I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, I can't believe it. So, he's feeling good right now, and that is dope. There is a battle in New York, though, between Nets fans and Knicks fans. Apparently, the battle for New York is now a thing. So I have a couple of tweets from these two users who, if you have a second, just go find them because they have been going at it all morning. It's hilarious. But expert Nets analyst says, let's see who wins a championship. Knicks are at the very least 10 to 12 years away from being a contender. 10 to 12 years. Disrespect. So of course here comes the Knicks fan, and he was like, oh no, that's not what you're doing. He goes, and you are at the very least 10 to 12 years away from having your big three healthy and on the floor at the same time, clown. Knicks run New York, get a healthy squad and win a chip, then you can talk, but you will never be healthy. So if you get a chance, like I said, go follow this battle because they've been going at it all morning. It's hilarious to me, and I gotta say, I'm here for it. So this next one to me is the definition of squad goals. Anybody who rolls with me know that if you got a problem, we all got a problem because we gonna do what we do. But the Rockets' Sterling Brown was in a bar fight last weekend, and now we're finding out that his teammates kind of came to his rescue. And in dope fashion. So it says a couple of Rocket players, including Kevin Porter Jr., stepped into the altercation to protect Sterling Brown from his assailant. He apparently was hit over the head with a bottle after the altercation because he got onto the wrong van outside the strip club, which I get because if you've ever seen sometimes when you get those party buses or those party vans lined up, they're all black. They all look the exact same. They all have the weird purple light inside. It's very easy to mistake which van is yours, but is it necessary to bash my guy over the head with a bottle? But this guy, again, reminds me of this because, Sterling Brown had a similar situation before when he was in an empty parking lot and he was parked in the handicap spot to go run to the ATM. So he says, reminder that Brown was also brutalized by the police a couple years ago when he was with Milwaukee, and all he did was park illegally in an empty parking lot while he ran to the ATM. He did end up winning that lawsuit. But here we go. These are the same people that are justifying this young black girl getting killed because he says he was in a handicapped parking spot. So the way that they brutalized him is okay. So there you go. You guys in the chat, your kinfolk is on Twitter. So congratulations that there's a lot of you out there. So let's move on to this next one, because again, we talked about this a little bit. I think I'm behind on the things, but now we're on to the Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. Last night had their game against the Warriors, like I said, and the Warriors did not reign victorious in that situation. And I feel like if Steph was having his scoring prowess, they would have won, but he did not. He only scored 18 points in that game. Like I said, Bradley Beal scored 29, and they beat the Warriors 114 to 118. Russ did get this first quarter buzzer beater, though. I want you guys to take a look.
It plays right into your wheelhouse when you're left-handed.
2 seconds, Westbrook's three, got it at the buzzer. What a first quarter in front of the fans for the first time this season.
I love that. The fans love that. Of course, like he said, the fans in the stands for the first time. This was a big moment for them and for Russ to do that. But Russ getting these buzzer beaters and being just right, spot on in clutch moments is not a new thing. But when a reporter tells him how dope he is in clutch situations, he seems to have no idea. Take a look.
You actually lead the NBA in clutch field goal percentage in the last 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just so, what do you make of that?
Oh, I know what I do. I ain't worried about what nobody else thinking. That's one thing about me. It doesn't really matter what nobody else think, But it's okay. Just keep doing what I'm doing. Keep my head straight and just keep hooping. That's all I can do.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know. And I know about this before because we've heard him say something to this effect before that he doesn't really keep up with stats and things of that nature. If you didn't believe him before, you should probably believe him now because there was all kinds of surprise all over his face. He's like, "Oh, damn, really?" He had no idea, which I think is really dope. And like he said, he knows what he does and he's going to keep doing what he does. And then he had another quote later that we have a tweet from that. It says, Russell Westbrook, I'm one of those players that if I need to defend at a high level, I can do that. If I need to score at a high level, I can do that. Pass, I can do that too. Rebound, I can do that. Want me to coach? I can do that too. So he is whatever the team needs him to be. He's down to be that. Y'all know I love me some Russell Westbrook, but seeing that surprise on his face when he found out how he is in a clutch situation, gotta love that man. He's literally just going out there and playing the best ball that he can, and he's just blocking out the noise. Love it. Shouts out to you guys for getting that win and silencing these whole MVP talks. Appreciate y'all for that. But let's move on to this next one because if a picture is worth 1,000 words, this one just looks like, it don't look like this is just a normal injury. It looked like your boy's out there suffering. But Jamal is out there looking like he just got out of some sort of major apocalypse type of surgery. He just looks worn down to me. I don't like this picture. But Devin, let me go to you. What does this picture say to you? This picture says, "Oh, sympathize with me. My life is so bad right now."
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. I'll say that. He doesn't look like he's enjoying his life in that moment. But then again, would any of us be looking good and happy and healthy lying in a hospital bed with our leg all bandaged up and, all the things stuck to our bodies? But yeah, no, I don't like it either. It's not a good look.
Wait a day. Get out the little hospital gown thing and just look like your life is, because that's what your team wants to see. Your team wants to see, okay, he came out of surgery, he's on the road to recovery, he's looking good. They don't want to see this picture that goes, damn, is Jamal gonna make it? That's not the picture they want to see. But that could be just me. I don't like the picture. But let's move on to this next one because this one is funny to me because when you see this video, I want you guys to look in the bottom right-hand corner. Well, it is for me. The bottom right-hand corner. Somebody out here sees one good shot from Lamar Jackson, and now they're trying to recruit him to the Lakers. Take a look. Where are they? Oh, they're in Dick's Sporting Goods, too. That was a good shot, though. Have to admit, that was a good shot. They just out there in Dick's Sporting Goods. There ain't nobody in there, seem like, except them. So, yeah, do y'all thing hanging out in Dick's Sporting Goods, making all the shots. I love Lamar Jackson out there having fun. That was dope. Now, this next one, let me just be very, very honest with you guys. This one annoyed me, but it worked out. Let me just say that. It annoyed me, but it worked out. But this man, I'm going to show you the video. This man, if y'all ever have gone to Vegas, Russian roulette, totally different game. Roulette is the most nerve-wracking game to play because there's no rhyme or reason to it, and you see people always on the roulette table, and it's just one of those things that if I've done it, I've just gone and I've done a couple of chips, here and there, maybe $20 here, $10 there, and it's just kind of more for fun. And if you get something cool, if you don't, fine. But if I was related to this man, if I was his wife, his girlfriend, his daughter, his sister, his cousin, whatever, he and I would have had to have a conversation because this man put $100,000 down on a number hitting in Russian roulette or roulette. I don't even want to keep saying Russian, but roulette. So keep that. That wouldn't have worked for me, but it worked for him. Take a look.
Cara, não tô acreditando. Olha aqui, ó. Tá todo mundo louco aqui, ó. Ninguém acredita. Segura. Vai lá, vai lá, vai lá, vai lá, vai lá. Tem que segurar pra gritar. Vai, porra! Vai, vai! Cara, eu tô louco.
I see you in the chat. Kevin Pryor in the chat said, not a mask in sight. Well, you just won $3.6 million. So I guess if you get sick, you can fight it. But again, this leads me back to what I was saying about Floyd money. You just $100,000 like in a game that most people lose on. You just cool to lose $100,000. I don't know. Devin,
Logan.
has to be.
Okay.
There's no way.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, this guy must have a lot of money where $100,000 feels like nothing, or he just was really messed up, probably on drugs or just drinking way too much and got too much liquid courage in him and decided to gamble away everything. If I were his wife or his girlfriend, I would probably be like so torn between my emotions, incredibly angry that he would be so frivolous and so, irresponsible with our money, but also like, hell yeah, we're millionaires now. So I think it would be a very confusing situation to be in. But that's when the wife needs to open up her own bank account, put in at least half of those winnings, right? And then invest maybe a quarter of it or half of it so that she's set for life. She's got this nest egg. And then if he wants to go and gamble $1 million on a game of roulette, that's his problem because she's good.
Right. And that's a good point because clearly this man has a problem. If he's cool with putting $100,000, that is the game. I feel like, and I don't know, I know somebody in the chat lives in Vegas, but I feel like roulette is where the casinos make most of their money. Because I've won one time and I put like $5 down and I think I won 10 or something like that. And they were like, do you want to double down? Hell no, I've never won in roulette, taking my $10 and I'm going home. I don't care. So this is just not, it's not the game where people really win. So I don't know. The $3.6 million. Okay, well, congratulations. The advice for the day is don't do what this man did because you probably don't have the pockets he has. And I can't see him. I don't know. That wasn't a good look. But that's all I got for the post up. Let's get into what we not going to do. Now, this one is going to be this is a difficult one for me because I understand both sides of the story. I fall squarely on one side more so than the other. But it's a bad situation. It's bad for a lot of reasons. I don't have much sympathy for Kirsten Henning in this situation. But let me just show you who this is. So this is Miss Kirsten Henning. This is a young lady that has filed a lawsuit against the Hokies women's soccer coach, Florida Tech, I believe. This is him. That she filed a lawsuit against him because she's saying that he basically retaliated against her and treated her really badly after she refused to join her teammates when all the sports were protesting and things of that nature. And now look at the team. The reason why I put this picture in there is because I had to get the full picture of this. I had to understand why this coach took this stance. I was like, well, maybe it has a lot of black players on the team. There's nary a one. Not one black player is on this team. Coach is white and Kirsten is white, which makes this so fascinating to me. It makes this whole situation fascinating to me. But again, he apparently retaliated against her when she refused to take a kneel during the national anthem. And he basically berated her, and she said she retaliated against him in a lot of ways. So against her in a lot of ways. So she filed a federal lawsuit against him. His name is Coach Chugger Adder. And again, saying that since she refused to join the teammates in kneeling before games, that he engaged in this huge campaign that limited her minutes. She didn't get to play in games, and basically talked bad about her in front of her teammates. So when after she didn't kneel, and then there was a time that he could talk to her in front of her teammates, he berated her and belittled her in front of her teammates. And I understand that's a horrible feeling when somebody talks down to you, especially in front of your teammates. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody, especially when they're playing a competitive sport. So the situation now is that she is seeking a jury trial, and she wants. These are some of the things that she wants. She wants a judgment that Coach Adair violated both her First Amendment and 14th Amendment rights. So let me just. I don't know if a lot of you know what the 14th Amendment is. Now, let me tell y'all this. When I read this to you, just know that this was written in 1789, because every time I talk about the 14th Amendment, I get black people telling me all the time, well, damn, our 14th Amendment rights are violated all the time. Yes, but in 1789, we were considered property. This was not written for us. And that's always the lesson I'm going to try to teach people when we're talking about the difference in the ways that we are treated, our constitutional differences in the way that we are treated versus our white counterparts. Constitutionally speaking, the Constitution wasn't written for us. We were not considered in that thought process, aside from to identify us as three-fifths of a person as property. That was the only thought that we got in the Constitution. So keep that in mind as I am reading this to you, because the 14th Amendment says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Oh, that's a neat one in there. Should not deny anyone life without the protection of the laws. That's neat. Doesn't apply to us, but that's neat. So this is one of the things that she's saying has violated her First Amendment right, which we know is the right to free speech. And then he basically took away her ability to play ball, which is a violation of her 14th Amendment right. Now, she's also saying that she should be granted the ability to rejoin the team without any retaliation against her for exercising her First Amendment right. And she wants the coach to undergo First Amendment training. She also wants some money. You know that was coming. She wants some money as well. And she wants her legal fees paid. So this is why this is difficult for me, because from a just basic knowledge of the law and how the law is written and what it should mean, she's absolutely right. She should be able to exercise her First Amendment right and her right to free speech. She should very much be able to go against the norm of what society is doing. Let me take that back, because it's definitely not the norm. Y'all have definitely proved that to me today. But she should go against the moment in time where people are trying to, be forward thinking with equality. She should be able to go against that. And that is her God-given right. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When we used to organize marches in Colorado, it was hard for us to get permits, but somehow the Klan would always get their permit right so easily, and they would march right next to us. It used to infuriate me, especially since the cops were always protecting the Klan's members. But at the end of the day, as much as I hate their free speech, they're what they're saying, they do have a right to free speech. So as much as I applaud the coach for his stance in the situation, yes, her rights were violated, and that there's no gray area in that. It's a black and white situation. Her rights were violated. She should be able to, because she went from starting, and I saw somebody ask where she started. She went from starting every game and playing 29 minutes to starting just a few games to only starting 2, and then to only playing 5-10 minutes a game. So he really did, start to pull things back. And on top of that, there was another young lady who stood and didn't kneel either, but she notified the team before that, and she was on scholarship, which leads me to think that this young lady is not on scholarship. She was on scholarship, so the coach couldn't do a lot in the way of retaliating and making her feel bad. But this is why this one's difficult for me, because if I could, Leo, if you have a second, if you could throw that picture back up of the coach, right? So this is where it gets difficult for me, because like I've said, I spent an enormous time on social media the last couple of days, which I am not going to do over the weekend, because I have seen so many people that look like this man that will justify anything and everything they can to justify the killing of Black people, and to default and say stuff like, oh, well, the Black community is this, that, and the third. And they don't understand historically how lines, literally, politically, and train track lines were drawn to separate us so that our communities would be impoverished. Not only do they not know that history, they haven't taken time to learn that history. And instead, they default to things that are just historically ingrained in our Caucasian community. It's constitutionally ingrained. It is what it is. So for me personally, to know that a man that looks like this went out of his way to try to get this young lady to understand, no, first of all, we're a team. And if one does it, we'll all do it, because we are going to be unified in this. And number two, to say, hey, this is the time for us to move forward and try to move for equality in this country that has not existed since ever, not at least for Black people, has never existed in this country. So to see a man that looks like this take this kind of stance when he doesn't have to, this for me was what I needed in this moment, because there's no Black people on the team. He's not Black. There is he has no dog in this race. Technically, he has no dog in this race to even want somebody to take this stance with him and to say, hey, let's move forward. Let's show solidarity. Let's, as a community, as a team, come together and say, we know what's happening in this country is not right, and we stand against it. To see someone who looks like him take that stance to the point where he's like, all right, if you ain't about that life, you ain't about this life. That, to me, was exactly what I needed to see in this moment, because I haven't seen enough of it, not only in the last year or so, but in my entire lifetime. I have never seen this kind of assertiveness when it wasn't needed. He had no reason to do this. He had no reason to do this at all. This is a person that I definitely want to talk to. I see Mark Law in the chat. He said he probably has a Black wife. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But regardless of if he does or if he doesn't, in this moment in time, with who he is and who that team is, he did not have to take this stance. And he did anyway. So what I'm not going to do is pretend like that didn't make my whole heart smile. I get that what he did was constitutionally and legally incorrect, but it's dope to me. Y'all can feel how you feel about that, but that's all I got for what we not going to do.
Okay, that was a great story. Jackie, yes, that athlete's rights were definitely infringed upon, I guess, but I do think it's important we applaud that coach for speaking out, for encouraging his athletes to get involved and to protest police brutality and racism. I mean, that is amazing. I definitely want to give that guy credit. And I also think that, you know, whether or not he does have a Black wife, like, it shouldn't change anything. You know, maybe he's just the type of person that wants to see a better world and wants to see a better future for Black people. So it shouldn't take knowing or having a relationship with a Black person for a white person to be able to do the right thing and send the right message. So, you know, I appreciate that, and definitely want to give that man a round of applause, because we don't see that enough, especially from coaches, especially from college coaches. It's never like that with the college coaches. It's always the exact opposite. So this is a refreshing change of pace here. Thank you for sharing that with us, Jackie. You guys, it's about that time for us to wrap up our show. We will be back again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. We will be doing fan or foe. So if you're watching this after we've gone live, go ahead and leave us some comments in the comment section down below. And if they are enticing enough, we may respond to them during fan or foe at the end of our show tomorrow. We're going live at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as usual. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and share this video with your friends. And of course, hit that thumbs up button, you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.